Insane. Insane.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. It's Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is legit paranormal. I don't know why I start to whisper when I say that. I mean, like I'm waking the neighbors. It's legit paranormal. It's Sunday night, September 26th, 2021. It's about 7:05 p.m. We're about to do the show. Joining me as always, the genius Kev. Kev, how you doing tonight?
Hey, doing very good, King. It's been a good weekend. My mother had a milestone birthday on Friday, so we went out and celebrated that. You know, Marie, she's a big fan of the show, so that was cool. Saturday afternoon, had lunch with my brother, talked for a number of hours. They talked about the show a lot, so that's been cool. But the reason I'm looking forward to this show is, I watch a lot of NFL football, and I think it'll be easier to follow paranormal than to explain to me how the NFL works. So I need some clarity.
Yeah, a couple things on that. One, earlier today, I was on the roof contemplating being a Giants fan. You know what I mean? I can't take it anymore. And secondly, really fast, what's considered a milestone birthday for Marie?
She turned 40.
You score right there, Kev. That's a point right there. You didn't get yourself. I tried to lead you into the trap, but you stayed out of it. Good job. Speaking of good jobs, it's Buddy Thayer. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm wonderful. Coincidentally enough, my mother also celebrated a birthday on Friday, and she's not as young as your mother, but she's still quite unaged herself for having a 42-year-old son. So this evening, I'm celebrating my mother's birth and a birthday weekend with this delicious beer. It was made in Putnam, Connecticut. I went there last night. Bare Hands. It's a New England IPA. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. And it's called Citra. Citra. I don't know. Citra something.
What's going on right now?
Citrasaurus. It's an 8.2,
right.
and it's delicious. So, yeah, I'm excited. Football sucked today, but I'm excited about tonight.
Buddy, is that a jug of beer?
It's a holler. It's called a holler. It's a 32 ounce, so it's like two of the tall boys that you normally see me drinking. I'm just going to drink one tall fat boy this evening. It's only 32 ounces.
It looks like a jug band thing of
little
booze.
handle on it. No brewing, no beers,
I'll be drinking warm Coors Light.
Connecticut, delicious beers. They have
All right, buddy.
lovely variety.
I want to have you stop talking about beer right now and have you do the introductions. Okay.
Also from Connecticut this evening, our guests, they're longtime paranormal investigators and research. The things that they've done over the years just blows my mind. They've authored 16 books. They're on countless television and radio programs. Tom D'Agostino and Arlene Nicholson. Welcome.
Nicholson.
Welcome, guys.
Hey, that brewery's right down the road from us.
We were there today.
Yeah, we were there today with my sister and brother-in-law.
It's only about like 30 minutes from my house. I live in Smithfield, so it's a quick jump over the border, and it's a beautiful place.
Hey, I must say, when you got a cowboy hat on, you look just like Burt Reynolds.
I love me some Burt. I love Burt Reynolds. I like Cannonball Run. I like Stroke Race. I like all those movies. Can't help it.
Burt makes everything better.
Yeah, right. He needs like Dom to slap every now and then. Like that's humor to me. Slap. Never mind. All right, never mind. So,
you told
really,
me Tom. You
What's
told
that?
me Tom makes everything better.
Yeah.
Not always.
All right. So wait. So I went to the D'Agostino website. First off, are you related to any of the D'Agostinos from North Providence, Rhode Island? There's a lot of Italian D'Agostinos in our area.
Not that I know of. We're from Charles Street, but we could be related in some way.
There you go.
You're right near us then. You probably know the family. All right. Let's see. So I went on the website and I'm looking at like the bio and whatnot. And two things came to mind. One, I have a really rotten bio. Like me personally, I should be ashamed of myself because I read your bio and I was just looking for the part where you like fought sharks or you like, went to the moon and had to like bring back a rock. It's so extensive that it's like, as a person that's going to like ask questions, it's just like, I got the whole like Encyclopedia Britannica, like all that stuff just laid out in front of me. It's like, where do you go with all this? Like,
Well,
that's a lot.
it was easy to carry that rock while we were in space because there was no gravity. But once we got in Earth's atmosphere, I dropped it.
But I have a picture of you with the moon rock.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do have pictures holding moon rock. Well, we.
So there's one story that Buddy keeps talking about, and I'm going to be honest, he's not doing it justice. So I know that it's probably a really good story. There you go, Buddy. There's another one. And Marie Masso, it is her birthday, and she likes detailed stories. So Ramtail Mill, like, help me with that, but give a version that's non-Buddy.
Okay, well, Buddy's there with us, so he would know a lot too. Ramtail Factory in 1813. William Potter, his son, only his two sons-in-law, Marvin Round and Peleg Walker, and his brother-in-law, Jonathan Ellis, started a factory. He was from Warwick, he was actually very wealthy, but he figured, hey, people are going to be coming out to this nowhere land. We might as well get it going, and put something on the map. And Peleg Walker was married to his daughter, and he actually he prided himself as a manufacturer. He started buying things. He started being very, I guess, over the top. A little extravagant, yeah. And by the time he even bought land abutting the Ramtail factory land, you had to pass through that land to get to the factory. And all of a sudden in early 1822, he started selling things off and things started going wrong. And 1.5 days before he was found dead, a few deeds were drawn up giving his property, his shares in the mill, to only Potter and William Potter. It was at 1 a.m, which in 1822 you had no light; you only had candles to work with. But he wasn't there to sign the deeds, although his name was put on it. A day and a half later, he's found dead. Pretty suspicious.
Are they Italian?
No, no, but man, I guess it was a precursor to it. And then, of course, the mill bells started ringing, according to legend, and they removed the rope. The bell kept ringing. They removed the bell. Then the mill started up. Now, this wasn't just a mill. It was a mill and village. There were houses like right across the street from the mill, or right across the dirt road. There were several houses, and there was a company store, and there was a common house, and there was a blacksmith shop. So it was a little village in the woods there. And the mill started up on its own a few times, and one time the water was running opposite. The wheel was running opposite the flow of the water. So these people got freaked out, and they started leaving left and right. And his ghost was seen a few times. The mill supposedly burned in 1873, but his ghost still actually is seen there. The lantern light, which he used to carry a lantern walking around the mill, I guess, is still seen there. And we've seen it a few times, and we have countless people who have witnessed it, including Forster police officers.
Right, now this isn't just like a local haunt. Now, my father used to collect, and he still has the collection, Rhode Island State Almanacs. They go back to about 1886. I remember I could go upstairs and I could pull the book out. It's in rough shape. The cover's barely on the book anymore. The pages are very delicate. You open up to a certain section, it gives you different like locations in Rhode Island. It gives you by the census, I think it is, and it'll show Ramtail Mill haunted. It's like listed in the actual Rhode Island State Census. So it's not just like a handful of people that believe this one location is haunted. It's like an entire population,
Oh, yeah. 1885, Amos Perry taking the census on page 36. Labels it at the top of the page when it shows mills for Forster. It says Ramtail Factory haunted. right on the top of page 36 in the 1885 census. Yeah. And there's many subsequent stories and articles I have going from that moment on to basically the last one that came out probably last year.
All right, I have a question. So, Arlene, when you guys see ghosts, spirits, do you both see them at the same time? Like, have you ever seen something that he didn't, or vice versa, or is it always at the same time?
It's it's a little of both. I mean,
Okay.
we have in our own house here, myself, Tom, and our dog saw all at the same time. We saw a shadow figure go right across the living room. In fact, our dog chased it. Tom and I weren't, looking for ghosts at the time. We were just standing in the dining room talking, and you could very clearly see the movement just go right by. And there's other times, I've seen him sitting in a chair. I'll be walking downstairs, and there he is sitting in a chair, and I'm talking to him, and he answers me from upstairs. So, I've seen him. You've actually mistaken a ghost for me at times here.
Several times, yeah.
Yeah, so it is a little bit of both. I mean,
if we're together, we do see.
Yeah.
If we're not, we see what we see.
I mean, yeah, we've both experienced it when we do our paranormal interactive dinners. I am in a different room than Tom, and the guests come around to us, and so I'll see something in my room, and Tom's not there, of course, but we do have other witnesses that have experienced the same thing.
So now
It's-
so that there's ghosts in the house that you live in, but you're still
Absolutely.
living.
No
you're
doubt
still living in
about it. Hey, it was a plus when we were buying it.
Yeah, the neighbors see them and everything. It's like just common. People who come here experience stuff.
Yeah.
So
How is that a good thing, though? I'm being dead serious. How is that a good thing? Because for me, and I don't mean to sound like for me, but for me, that's not a good thing. I would be like, no, I'd have to sell. Like how is it? Is it enjoyable?
Actually, it is. It makes life pretty interesting. Now, spirits aren't necessarily evil. They're very rarely evil. They're just people like you or I are. They just don't have the physical form anymore. Their energy is still there. It's still alive. And they're here. I think most spirits remain in a place because they love where they are. And we can cohabitate very well together. And actually, there's one case when before we were buying the house that I really believe there was paranormal activity that caused this event, because I was a little bit hesitant and going through with the sale. The furnace downstairs looked really old, creepy, and rickety and everything. So, the sellers did not want to budge on that. So I'm like, you know what? I'll probably just end up buying a new furnace. That's what we'll have to do. So we come for the inspection, and we drive up, and there is smoke coming out of all the windows of our house. Evidently,
house to be.
evidently the furnace misfired, and it caused a fire. And so the house had to be condemned until the seller could fix everything. So they put the new furnace in, the new chimneys. What do they call those?
They had to put new
the
flue
liner
in.
or something, and all that other good stuff. So in that
And you
case,
hung in
it was
there for all
actually
that.
a good thing.
You hung in there for
Oh,
all
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
how much you wanted the house.
It's
Yeah.
a really wicked, unbelievable house. It's beautiful. And the ghosts, we have it decorated as if you're walking in the house about 1920. So they feel at home. And being that way, they're just wandering amok. We'll hear them talking. We'll hear, like I said, all our people who come visit. The neighbors even see stuff. So, it's just normal now.
Yeah, I don't feel threatened at all.
Yeah.
At one point, this house was a convalescent home.
Yeah.
And we were told by previous tenants of this house that, they slept in the same bedroom that we do. And I guess that was
The master.
that was the master bedroom, and that's where they, would have a few beds for patients. And when this lady was a little girl, she slept in our room, the same position our bed is in. And she used to be petrified because she'd wake up and there would be a nurse at the end of the bed, just kind of with her arms folded. And,
Staring
just
at her.
kind of staring at her with a, a slight smile and everything. So, nurses typically are just very kind-hearted people anyway.
Yeah,
So,
and the owner before us passed away in bed right where our bed is also.
yeah.
And people across the street and people down the street saw him on the balcony after he had passed away. And we have a balcony that comes from our bedroom. You can sit outside on it with a nice little roof. And they saw him standing. They used to love standing there and just looking over the neighborhood. And after he passed away, they told us, yeah, we saw Dell last night.
Well, our two neighbors across the street were just kind of glancing over at our house because it was actually, John and Carlos just told me that they saw him. It was the day after Dell's funeral.
Yeah.
So, it's.
Hey, let me ask you guys something. You talk about seeing shadows in your house. I've seen shadows in this house, right in the wall behind me. I've seen them upstairs. I've seen them investigating. I've seen them not investigating. It's always like head on, and I'm always looking at them. I'll tell other investigators, I'll tell other paranormal people, and they'll say, "Oh, it's a shadow figure. It's an evil entity." It's. Do you believe that it's like a shadow figure that we're seeing, or it's like just our own perspective on the paranormal, our own denseness of our own veil? What's your feelings on shadow people?
That's a great question. It really is.
Yeah, because our rods and cones in the side of our eye enable us to see things. But at the same time, when you're not paying attention to that, any kind of light could create some sort of aberration that would almost look like a shadow person. To me, if I'm thinking of a shadow person, I'm thinking like something like when our dog chased it, you actually saw it walking like this.
Right. You see a full strut. I've seen it almost 100 times.
Yeah.
Really?
Is it like an evil entity that,
I mean, it could be. It could be in other words, there is light, and things do block light. And don't forget, we studying astronomy and everything. You have things like neutrinos, which can pass the speed of light, pass right through solid molecules, solid things like Earth. So we're studying this kind of stuff. Why is something like that, which we haven't really studied, saying, "Oh, shadow people. Let's look at the science of that." It could possibly exist perfectly without a body to create an aberration of light as it walks by, even though it doesn't have a physical body to do it.
Right.
If I would have to guess on shadow people, wouldn't they be of more evil intent if they stay in the shadows?
No.
Well, we call them shadow people because it's a dark form.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just a dark form. Maybe those rods and cones in our eye, which enable us to see on the side of us, which actually were more prominent to see light and everything, is what actually sees them. But the straight of your eye, when you look forward, doesn't have enough of that rods and cones to see them. And that's why people see them out of the side of our eye. Again, he doesn't know the science that we haven't studied intensely.
You know what's interesting? A lot of people believe, and I believe myself, that animals are very sensitive to paranormal activity. So they have that wider peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they actually are seeing things differently than we do.
So they see it direct when we have to see it out of the corner of our eye. But if it passes here, the rods and cones of our eyes are not there anymore. So
like a rabbit, they see completely. So.
I've known different people that have severe mediums, for example, and the mother has will see shadows or will hear the voices, where the daughter can see the person, and has that more and where the grandmother had the same thing that the granddaughter has. You know, do you think it's hereditary?
Yeah, because it's DNA.
Mhm.
It would be DNA that would do that. You know,
Yeah.
Kev?
it's like my father ate like a horse, and so do I. And I don't know why, but I do.
Right.
So I have two questions, and I'm going to go with one about shadow figures first. But Mike, I want to bring it back to me for the second one in a second. So shadow figures, I never heard about that at all until we started doing this show. It was always ghosts were, typically
Aberrations.
white figures, apparitions, and all that stuff. And I did not hear about shadow figures. So has that always been been reported and kind of on the record, or is it that we are, more sensitive and able to, well, I don't say more sensitive, but able to describe different phenomena now, so we can now separate or classify things differently?
I think it's probably because we just talk about it more now. I mean, we have shows like yours. It's a subject of great interest. I mean, it always has been. I mean, it's like the age-old question: what happens after we die? But I mean, this is like a second spiritualist movement, and people are really into the paranormal. So, it probably already exists. I mean, it existed. It just wasn't talked about.
People,
it was so vague that they probably just thought they were plain nuts if they saw something like that.
Yeah. Also, the fact that how far does the sighting of shadow people go back too? Because like Arlene is right about that, because a lot of people say, well, I thought I just saw something. Now, if I don't have something super definitive and 1,000 people saw it, they're going to think I'm a whack nut.
Right.
But also, how far back do these sightings of shadow people go? Because don't forget, lighting, you need light to have a shadow. And back in like the early 1800s, you had a candle.
Yeah.
And in 1853 was when kerosene lanterns were invented and came to culture. And after that, 1870s, we had finally electricity, not everywhere, but it was dim. So how far back does the shadow person sightings begin? And I mean, if they begin a long time ago, I mean, when you look at the Nellie Butler case in 1800, she was appearing in the docks in a dock root cellar, glowing. And that wasn't a shadow person. And now we have today's culture, better lighting, and of course, people aren't afraid to say it. If I saw a shadow, I would think nothing of it, But like, oh yeah, what was that? And then if you think to say something of it, people would go, yeah. Oh, there you are. You need to be committed. Yeah. But now, if it, like Arlene said, with today's culture, also, people are now more readily, able to talk about it without being, I guess, judged. So the shadow thing probably pops up more because of that.
Very good points. I like that. I never really thought of it from the perspective of you need light to see a shadow, and like before electricity, there wasn't as much light. So I'm going to go into my second question. And Arlene, you very almost casually mentioned that you'll be in the house, you'll see, or I think you said see Tom sitting on a chair. You'll ask a question, and he'll answer from upstairs. Meaning that whatever you're seeing in the chair obviously isn't Tom. That would probably concern me a little. So do you guys talk about that? What do you do when that happens, or did I misinterpret it?
No, you interpreted it just fine, perfectly, and it's shocking. It's startling when you see it. But it's happened quite often here. Our neighbor, poor guy. Oh, this is a funny story. Tom had fixed our next. He was an elderly man, and Tom fixed his car for him. It was a messy, dirty job and everything. Tom's under the car, doing his magic, and the gentleman wanted to pay Tom, and of course he's like, no, I'm not taking any money from a neighbor, and that's what neighbors are for. So anyway, he went out. The gentleman went out, and he bought him a case of beer. But being on a walker and everything, he couldn't carry it over. So he came over to our back door, to ask Tom to come pick it up from his house. And we have no curtains on our back door. It's just,
you can see right through in the whole kitchen.
The whole kitchen. So he looked in our kitchen and he saw, again, it's a glowing figure. He saw a short, kind of stout man with a child beside him. And he said that the figures that he saw where they just produced a light of their own. It was
in the afternoon.
It was
1:30
in the afternoon. So it goes to just appear at midnight. So he went running back to his house. I mean, he's on a walker, practically holding in the air like that, running back.
The neighbors all saw it.
Yeah, the neighbors all saw it. So, he was, I mean, the poor guy had a heart condition too. It was awful. So he went across the street to our other neighbor, and he said, I think I just saw a ghost at Tom and Arlene's. And she said, yeah, their house is pretty haunted. She said it's a well-known fact.
Thank God he didn't take a heart attack. Thank God he didn't take a heart attack.
Oh my God,
horrible.
Oh my God.
What an obituary.
Yes,
what an obituary that would be. Oh my God.
I know it. After visiting Ghost Hunter's house.
The guy who died in the house before we bought it was short and stout. And another man, Phineas G. Wright, who's very famous, you can look him up, owned this house back in the early 1900s too. Yeah. And I actually walked into him one night in the upper hallway, first hall. Yeah. I was walking, all of a sudden this guy appeared, and I walked through him, and I literally, I stopped breathing for a second. That's how startling it was.
I remember that. That would have really.
You walked right through him?
Yeah, right through him. He disappeared all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And
did you not
I was
see him?
walking, and I walked fast. No, he just appeared right then and there in the hall.
Yeah.
Right while I was walking.
So he's setting you up.
I literally stumbled to thinking I was going to trip into somebody, like bang right into him, and then the next thing you know, I'm past him. There's nothing there. It was like, wow.
And when you turned?
Yeah, something like that will take your breath away.
What did you turn around quick? Did you immediately turn around and see what it was? And you see nothing?
Oh yeah, there was nothing there. No, there was nobody there. I mean, nothing. Yeah, it was like, I mean, I was like my whole like it was almost like every single organ in my body just stopped working for a second, because all of a sudden I'm going to walk into somebody who shouldn't be there, and I just walked right into him like I was not like if you're in a crowd and you whack into someone, but I just. Boom, and there was nothing there, but I saw it. It was almost. He came around the corner of the second hallway while I was going into the second hallway, and boom, right through him. And then there was nothing there. And the lights were on. It wasn't like it was dark.
And he was white as a ghost when that happened. I mean, seriously, I'll never forget that. That was.
Yeah, how'd you sleep that night?
I don't remember.
I think he just passed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been ridiculous.
Hey, like that happened at Captain. Yeah.
I got a question. I'm just going to really quickly ask you, because it's coming in from someone. They want you to explain the great EVP you got at the tavern on Main many years ago. Does that ring a bell?
There were quite a few.
I think they're talking about the one. My name's Alice. We have the ghost box. We have portals now and everything, and we were using a the ghost box idea, and it goes through the different frequencies, and you're supposed to catch like the voice and the frequency, so it's going.
Yep.
Well, we said, well, what's your name? We went to the table where Elizabeth was supposed to be. As we're going down the stairs to go to that table, one of the investigators goes, wait a minute. He picks up his phone. I go, what? He goes, I got a text. And I said, well, answer it. He goes, it says Alice. And I said, well, Alice. He goes, I don't know any Alice. And I said, well, I get wrong texts too. He goes, my phone doesn't have texting. And it just said Alice on it. So we go there, and him and two other people I'm with talking, and I say, what's your name? This goes right above all the clicking and goes, my name's Alice. And you can still hear the clicking below it, which is the most wild thing in the world.
I'm more blown away by. I'm sorry. I'm stuck on the fact that ghosts can text. Now I'm really terrified. Like I gotta. That to me is horrendous because I get enough
I
text
never thought
messages
about it
all the
like that.
time.
I never thought about it. Yeah, huh?
How do they know how to
I never
text?
thought about that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Well, they play with electronic things all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
you hear lights going on and off, water
But
faucets.
that's a
turning
whole
on and
different thing
off.
because it's shooting a beam up to the
Yeah.
sky
I
that
know.
relays the message. So what are they?
I know.
Holy crap! I didn't need that.
Yeah,
Now I'm more scared.
at first I just
Maybe it was kind of a no, because she said my name
my
is
name's
Alice.
At
My
first
name's
I
Alice.
just thought he was like saying something, or just hyping. Then all of a sudden this thing comes through. Now, a year later we would get this EVP again from that booth. What's your name? And it'd say Alice. So I mean, wow. But for this thing that you can hear going toot 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 toot, and all of a sudden, my name's Alice. But you hear that channel, when they go through the frequency, it's boom, 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 boom. Below that, which is wild. It just blew right through the whole radio.
The same person just asked.
I never thought about the
him-
texting.
I never did. Good point.
Ask him the knock knock.
People actually, yeah.
Have you heard that? Someone just asked me to ask you about the knock knock.
Remember? Yes.
Oh, yes.
There was two, in the bathroom downstairs. We were doing a investigation, and one lady says, "Can you bang something and knock something?" And all of a sudden, I had an EMF meter in my hand, and this other woman did too. And both of them were zing, zing. They both went off twice, and we're like, "Wow!" And she goes, "Oh, what was that? Your EMF meter?" And we go, "Wow, I guess somebody said something." Now later, I'm listening to the recorder that was in that room, and right as those things go off, you hear a little child go, "Knock, knock." Two, knock, knock, and the meters went like this at the same time. So it is. We didn't hear it at that moment, but we heard it afterwards when we listened back to the recording.
Wow. I don't, Kev. Oh, you're muted. I don't know why you're muted. I mean, I did it because I didn't want to hear you.
So this is all at Tavern on Main. This is all the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two Tavern on Main in Chepachet, Rhode Island. Yeah.
We got some. I mean, every time we've been there and done an investigation, there's always
something.
There's always some EVP. I mean,
great history to that building.
Yeah,
they like us there.
One night we had a child.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I used tarot cards to kind of prompt questions during EVP sessions. So I selected. I forgot what card it was that came up. Oh, it was the Five of Pentacles, and the meaning of that is, financial devastation. So, I said, well, money can be replaced. And then a voice came right out, and it sounded like a child. And it said, no. And everybody heard that right.
That was allowed, yeah.
And then there was another time during a tarot session where the Tower actually came up. So the meaning of the Tower tarot card means a sudden catastrophe, maybe sickness, illness, anything.
But everything is leaned toward talking to a child.
It's just earth shattering. So I asked just a general question, did you fall? And when we played it back, you could hear a little child say, fall, and then
yeah, giggling. Now this is 10:30 at night.
There were no children in the tavern.
Yeah, you wouldn't have children in a tap room or a tavern at 10:30 at night.
So ghost children are kind of
creepy, scary.
Yeah, they're kind of creepy.
That's exactly where they've seen the child ghost also in the tap room, looking out the window and inside the building itself.
I've been in that building. It's a creepy building. Anything about the history of it? Anything from like Thomas Dorr or his soldier that allegedly got shot, or anything Rhode Island Rebellion related, or just kids?
Yeah, it was Jedediah Sprague owned it during the Dorr Rebellion. Actually, Jedediah Sprague was like a general in Thomas Dorr's army, whatever army it was, and there was a guy, Horace Bardeen, who got shot in the side there. He didn't get killed, but when Thomas Dorr's troops saw they were outnumbered by Samuel King's troops, they ran to the tavern because that was his headquarters. and Jedediah Sprague had to dive through the window to quelch the rebellion. But one of King's men was a little bit overzealous and shot through the door, and he did wound a guy. That was it. That was the whole rebellion. There being a private home as well, from 1760 onward, and even rentals upstairs now. I'm sure there were a lot of people who died in there. Jedediah Sprague's kids was only 2 years old, so it wouldn't have been him. That's the only child they had. I mean, Cyrus Cook had a few children. Subsequent other owners of the tavern later in the 1800s, children who died there. There was a few owners who died there in the 70s. There was a shooting there where a woman was killed in 1973. So, I mean, you got a lot of things going on in that place. A lot of energy.
I got a question. All right, so Tom and Arlene, you guys are married, and so you're married and you're in every part of each other's lives, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm married. I don't know how you pull that off. Like, I don't know how you can go from work to like being in the paranormal with somebody, because you got to really trust the other person, what you two are doing. And I've noticed that you have that thesaurus thing going where like you'll say something and then she'll give you another word for it, or vice versa. You guys do that with each other. Like, so there's definitely a bond there. How do you balance it though? Like real life, your regular life, like taking a vacation, getting away from paranormal, or is there just no escaping it? That is the life.
No.
You know, we have other interests too, but I guess it's just our love for the paranormal. You know, it's just
New England,
you know, when you're
history,
that like-minded, you know, I guess you just get along really well. Plus, we were best friends for how many years before we got married?
15 or 16 years before we got married.
Yeah, we were both married to different people, and so this is our second
marriages. Now, Tom, you played music.
We hung out all the time.
Yeah.
How long ago did you play ever in Rhode Island? Like any of the bars in Rhode Island?
Yeah, In fact, I still play. I'm in an acoustic duo now, where I play guitar, banjo, mandolin, steel guitar, harmonica, and sing.
But back in the day, what were you in back in the day? Like, what band were you in?
Oh God! I was in bands Blackbird 13, which was an original band. I was in Algae Afterbirth, which was a punk rock hardcore band signed to Black and Blue Records.
Yep.
I was in a bunch of cover bands. So yeah, I mean, I did a lot of stuff. I was in country bands.
Do you remember the living room?
Musically.
Do you remember the living room?
Played the living room a lot. Oh yeah, all the time.
So there was the first one that Randy owned.
Lupo's a living room.
Yeah, so but there was the first one that Randy built that had the bubble, and then he built it across the street.
That was the second one.
The the one across the street. That one. Yeah. If I was going to guess of a place ever being haunted, that's a place that I always had, because we played there so much that we got to the point where we would open up, because Randy got there later than we did. We wanted to set up, and they would. I mean, never mind the rats. Never mind the rats. But, corruption. We played with Kilgore and bands like that, probably in like the mid to late 90s. But so we did the Met, Lupos, all that stuff. But the living room had something about it that was like the second one. Bad vibes. I get such weird vibes when you go in the back room or you go like down that alley that it kind of had. But you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It was kind of creepy. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird setup. That's why. It just was dark all the time, no matter where you were.
Yeah, and
even
like I
lights
said,
on. Dark.
The rats were unbelievably incredible. Like what we would do is I think it was a band that we let open for us, and they came to town. We would tell them to go into the living room in the dark and just stand in the middle, and we dare them. We'd give them money to do it. And as soon as they would get to the middle, we would hit all the lights, and the rats would run by them. Oh my God! You want to see people get scared, because these things are like. And they made the way, but you know where the bar was. They would go under the thing, and in the basement, Kev, there was always like 2 or 3 feet of water in the basement.
This is a fruit stand right next door. So
Yeah, it's
That probably
crazy.
didn't help.
At one point, I think CBGB's was like 10 times better than that place.
Yeah, right.
And that's not saying much.
So, all right. So here's my question then, because it comes up a lot with me. I feel like musicians are open to so much more than like they just seem like they are. Like whenever I can identify a musician right away. Like Kev knows this. I can identify someone that plays music the minute I start talking to them. There's just the vibe about them. Do you think that at all helps you in being open to what's going on in the rest of your life, or do you think it just doesn't matter?
Yeah, it actually does, because you're tapping a spot in your brain and in your consciousness that's more artistic, which could also lead to esoterical. So you open yourself up to that kind of thing. And like Ignacy Paderewski said, 7 notes, 1 million possibilities. That's using your imagination. And that's using your some sort of artistic imagination, which opens up your brain to a lot more. Definitely.
Yeah, see, because that comes from. It's like you're trying to learn like maybe a riff or whatever it is you're learning, and it's like you do it 10 times in a row, and you're just like, I can't get it, and then you just pick the back up, and out of the blue, you catch it, and that's always been like that moment that I try to explain to people. That's weird as far as music's concerned. Like that moment where your brain goes, "Oh, I can do this," and you just move on to it and you pass it, and it's like, why was I practicing for so long? Like, why could I not do this? Do you have that, or are you just so talented?
I always tell my students. No, I got to work. I work on things, but the whole thing is, a lot of times I even tell my students this: once you played it, you already know it. Trust yourself.
Wow, that's good. That's
once
good right
you played it, your brain did it. Trust yourself, and that helps. I mean, yeah, then your muscle memory you need to work into and all that, but the idea of the fundamental. I actually play over 15 different instruments. So from sitar to pedal steel guitar to balalaika, all that stuff. And
awesome.
It's all just a matter of trusting what you know and letting it rip.
Yeah, that's. I mean, seriously, to be able to play that many instruments, there's definitely something that you can understand, or you've learned your brain to understand, as far as writing. Because I love writing new stuff, like off a different instrument that I never played before, just because it's a new sound for me. Like I write the intros to all these different shows,
awesome.
new, because I just love to do it. I just do it because I want to do it. I don't really care if they like. Like I didn't ask Buddy if he liked the song or not. I just played it.
It's all right.
Did you say you were in Kilgore Smudge?
No, that's not
Yeah.
me. That's a band I played with. I was in State of Corruption. Kilgore Smudge was a band we
I
played.
know that band too.
Yeah, State of Corruption. We played.
Okay.
We did a couple of benefits that made the Lupos and the Met all one place. We had like maybe 20 bands, different stages.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Two-Headed Monster at Lupos, where us and Shed is one band. We did a lot of like crazy things to do that. Yeah, it's just a music thing. Kev, I keep getting questions like seriously from everywhere. This one pops up. Would love to ask you about Hampton City or Ramsdale again.
Yeah,
I don't even know. Go ahead.
So you got Tom. You started talking about the Ramsdale, the mill thing, and you got to the point where you're kind of talking about the history. But I guess is there more to tell? Like, what's on that site now? Is it still a paranormal site? Was there something recent that you guys have done there? Because that this person's asking about.
There is the remains of the mill wheel. You can see where the wheel pit was. Actually, I have a picture of the mill when it was actually up and running from 1850s or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's that. Then if you look, I know where they are, but it's hard to see them. You can see some of the brick. There's the mill houses, the remains of them, the remains of the general store, an area, a corner where the blacksmith shop was, and there's a few more houses further up the road in the woods coming out from the factory toward Ramtail Road. You can't really see them unless you look, but that's what's there. It's just ruins and remains of things. There's no like building per se.
You're in the middle of nowhere, though, guys. Let me just I privy these guys both to a K2 meter in the last like 6 to 10 months. So you're in the middle of nowhere, and this K2 meter is not going off at all. It's just dead. It's baseline. You're in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing that's going to cause it to go up, and it's sitting in this road. this old carriage road. It's sitting right on the ground, and investigators have just talking about different people that live there, and it just started spiking. And when it spiked, we got an EVP. So it's pretty incredible. I was in the middle of absolute nowhere. There's nothing electrical. There's nothing, anything except maybe the water that's running by. It's right at the mouth of the reservoir. It's in the middle of nowhere in Foster, but it's not that hard to get to.
Yeah, it's a good almost a half a mile in from any power lines and everything. So you got nothing to.
There's an air going above you.
All kinds of directions. It's in the woods. There's no.
So what's the theory behind why there's so much energy sort of still left there? If the structures aren't even there, is it just is the land itself?
The running water?
Well, yeah. The
what it's like to look for something in a book.
Don't forget.
It's difficult.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm looking for something here. But not only did Peleg Walker commit suicide there or die mysteriously, but a man named Jonathan Buckland died at the mill. A man named what's his name? Richard Salisbury died there, and Betsy Grayson. So you got several different, things that happened.
Were they all suicides? Were they all suicides, or were they just random deaths?
Not all suicides, but all tragic deaths. Yeah. 2 suicides and 2 tragic deaths. Let me go get the other book. This is.
Okay, that's not the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really just does hold energy at that place.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah. There was, Betsy Grayson died tragically when she was going to draw water from the river.
That's right, in the river, right.
And she hit her head on the rocks. Mm-hmm. And Richard Salisbury used to go there to get away from his family and drink in one of the abandoned houses, and he died there. Jonathan Buckland committed suicide there in 1817, a few years before Peleg Walker died. This is. I don't know if you can see it well. Let me see.
Peleg Walker can't catch a break. But hold on, let
me hold on to the camera. That's the factory. Wait a minute. Yep. I'm not good at it. There it is.
Wow.
That's the factory. Around 1850, I pulled the date up. I guessed the date and figured it out by that wagon in front, which was basically the sports car of the day.
Hold on.
Yeah. So. Wow. Oh yeah. So there it is. Nope. So everyone can see it. Right there.
That's awesome.
And
that's a picture.
I stood in that foundation.
That's incredible. Believe it or not, among artifacts that from the Masons, Peleg Walker was a Mason. It was found among artifacts of Peleg Walker's stuff near there, because a lot of the people who owned the factory or ran the factory were Freemasons as well. So they actually found all this stuff in their archives, I guess, in the basement, which is pretty interesting.
The Masons save everything.
Yeah, the Masons save everything. Yeah.
Also, no, they did. That's a wonderful picture. Now, just to the left of that building, where we saw that building in that picture, is where that K2 sat, and we got incredible. But it's all woods now. It's dense woods, and it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. There's nothing that should go off there. I know there's no reason for any electrical fields or anything. Even the river is just flowing. If it was going to be K2 meters going off and everything, it'd be going off all the time because you have the same rocks and water flowing over them. It's not like a charge of electricity is in a pocket of water.
Right.
I got a question. I'm still stuck on the ghost can text. By the way, Kev, like I swear to you that I keep writing that down. Ghost can text. Like it's something that's killing me on that because it's a whole other level of what they can do that I didn't think they could do. When we started this show, guys, like it's about a year ago. So we did a sports show, and then I'm like, I want to do like an Art Bell type show on a Sunday night because I was a big Art Bell fan, right? And so we knew Buddy, and he's Ocean State Paranormal. So our thoughts were to have somebody else host it with Buddy, whatnot, and go on. Eventually, though, me and Kev became attached to the project. And as every week's going on, it's like we're getting our associate's degree in the paranormal. We keep hearing from different people, we're learning stuff, and like just completely learning new stuff. Totally. Let me ask you guys this. This is the one question that always bothers me the most. Afterlife. Do you believe, first of all, that in the afterlife you will be able to identify family members?
The age-old question.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we know energy can't be destroyed.
Yep.
And it can only be transferred. I'm hoping that I don't come back as a frog.
That's a religious question.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that ghost spirits or anything have much of anything to do with religion. I believe it as a science. So basically, I believe if we die, your body rots and everything, your energy is here. Now energy could be closely tied DNA wise. We don't know because we haven't been able to go, hang out with Jim Morrison and Elvis and come back. That's of course if they're actually dead. And
I think
True.
And and answer these questions. But to me, it's a science, and where energy, and when you die, your body just dies. Your energy goes somewhere. Sometimes it might be like meteorology, you have pressure zones and weather pockets, and these pockets might hold certain energies, and these pockets could be as big as a table or a house or a neighborhood. Or as with meteorology, they study it in giant, sections of the country. So that's why I studied meteorology in college, and I studied sociology and psychology and astronomy and all that kind of stuff, because I really wanted to take it from a scientific level that I thought was happening as far as an afterlife, visiting your friends and family and all that. If there is a part of you that will do that, sure. What you would call heaven, there is probably some sort of consciousness in this brain that is separate from the energy force that would probably go there to your favorite place. I love this desk. I love this study. So when I die, I'm going to be at this desk all the time, type thing.
Yeah. See, so the issue I always had was when I talked to different people, if my kids aren't going to be there, I don't want to go there. Like that. That's my whole train of thought. Like I have a hard time with that fact that like when I go, I would like it to be that I would eventually see them again. So I don't know how that would happen. And I guess that's my big thing. Kev, what's your thing about that?
No, it's like Arlene said, age-old question. I don't think we're gonna get answers. But I'm gonna shift gears because we're running out of time. But it's sort of along the same lines. Like that area with the mill, there's nothing there now anymore. The mill is gone. There's like little foundations, whatever. But for some reason, it's still very active paranormally. So it seems like, as far as afterlife and things go, you can almost burn in like the memories or the emotion or the energy of your life, your experiences, and then hundreds or thousands of years later, it'll still be there. So is that kind of why some areas are more active than others, just sort of off the bat?
Probably, yeah. Again, I when I proposed the idea of pressure zones like we have, in the United States, why do we get tornadoes here and hurricanes there, but you don't get them there or you don't get them there and stuff like that? Perhaps this area was a pressure zone that holds that kind of energy. And therefore, it could be residual and keep happening and replay itself. Just like we keep getting rain and wind. It's that area, it comes here and all of a sudden, poof, it's rain and wind. And so it could be something like that just keeps replaying itself or holds that energy where it just keeps going on and on and on and on. Again, we know nothing about this field. as long as everybody's been studying it, if anybody says they have the answers, well, then they should be in the Guinness World Book of Records, on television, win every single Nobel Peace Prize there is.
Yeah. I think everybody's got their own idea about what happened.
We know this much, and you know the answer is that much. You know,
if you knew the answer,
more than my arms can spread.
If you knew the answer, then you'd be on like Extra or what the other one called, Kev? The Inside Edition.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Or we could go on America's Got Talent because I'd have the talent of knowing the answer, win right away.
let me tell you something. I know. Listen. So I'm watching football all day long, and they kept showing the next great, like the Masked Singer, or the Masked Singer. It's like it's a show where celebrities watch other celebrities dress up, and they got to guess who they are while they sing. I'm like, what a waste of time that is.
Oh, we
and
saw
then the next
that
show,
a couple of times. Yeah.
Now they got a computer animated version of themselves. They make this like whole, like whatever you want to call it, and they put it out there, and that's what you're supposed to watch sing. And then you rate people on like how their voice sounds with the animated. It's the dumbest.
Mm-hmm.
Those shows are such a waste of time.
Oh.
I just can't even believe they're on TV. I'm sorry. I'm going to get off track. But that's what I made me think of. And those things are horrible. All right, let me ask you guys this. So you do a lot of the dinners, the paranormal dinners, right? A paranormal dinner is you invite people over. How does it go? Explain to me. Like you were in separate rooms.
We have we have the people all get together in some of the most haunted places in New England, like the Hawthorne Hotel, the Public House, the Colonial and Concord, the Tavern.
Tavern on Main.
Then we have dinner, and then we actually have giveaways. We give away T-shirts and books and all kinds of things. And then we break into groups. We show them how to use the equipment, and each group goes to each place until all of them are done. Every place, but they use the equipment. They're the investigators. And then when we're done, we go over all the evidence and we share everything with everybody.
And the investigators will share with us as well.
Share
so
with us
you
too.
know, it's back and forth that way.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the investigator and you're doing it. You know, and in some places you never get to investigate otherwise.
Did you guys ever think that you would be in it this long and like amass all the different things that you've done? Like did you think in the beginning, like this is something I'm definitely going to be in for the rest of my life, or is it just something that happened and kind of goes along?
I had wishful thinking that this would happen. I mean, I commuted for many years to Boston for work, and
Sucks.
you know, I like this better.
I've been doing it 39 years.
Yeah.
I'm going on 40 years investigating, and we don't collect money for investigations. We never did. We don't charge. So, you know, so I'll be doing it until I haunt somebody. Hopefully to find some sort of answers to help everybody, you know, help anybody.
All right, so the last
is big.
The last question I want to ask you guys is one I asked. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Arlene.
Oh no, I was going to say that we have a password, a secret password. So whoever dies first, we are going to communicate. So if I die first, then I have a password that I'm going to, you know, share with him, and it'll be our.
You want to know what it is?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the password?
No.
There we go. Don't say that twice.
Slow it down. No. All right. What I was going to ask was, so you're kind of at a point where like people keep asking me questions right and left. I can't ask all their questions, but it's obvious that you've got a real strong base in this New England area. My issue has been with the New England paranormal area is that they are very competitive. It's like sports. There's some people that won't show someone else something because they don't want to show it to them. It gets weird. So we have some conversations where some people are very like, if you mention one person, they get so defensive, and it's like there was a war that went on. So, I mean, I'm not imagining that. I know, Kev, you agree with that. There's a little bit of infighting, well, a lot of infighting in that whole paranormal world.
Right.
How do you rise above it? Like, how do you just get beyond it?
Actually, we just don't involve ourselves in any drama. You know.
Perfect.
I think we should all be on the same page. There are a lot of paranormal groups where we do support one another, but I think it's like that with any industry, any business. There's always going to be those that
we share everything with everybody.
We always do.
Anytime, all the time. People call us up all the time. Oh, I'm writing a book on this. I'm doing a thesis. I need this.
Yeah.
Or we're going to this place, and we'll tell them how to get there, the best way to get there, and what we saw, what we didn't see, what to expect, what not to expect. We share everything.
Yeah. So we get a lot of support, from other people as well. And
we don't.
But we just don't get involved.
Yeah, we don't fall into those little things.
And negativity, just breeds more negativity, and that's no way to live.
There's drama in any.
Anything he wants to know, we give it.
Kev?
No, we've talked about that a lot. If we're doing like the wrap up, the one thing I'm sorry we didn't get to is the whole ships thing, the pirates thing. I love pirates, and like I can sort of understand a spirit in a place or like some other kind of entity, but what I have a hard time wrapping my head around like an entire ghost ship, because it's a ship that it's all the people on it and all that stuff. And I know you guys wrote a book on it, and we're at the hour, so maybe that's a teaser for the next time you guys come on. But I would love to hear a little more about that. But in any event, it's a very good conversation, and I'm going to talk to my mother after the show. We're going to see what she thinks. Hopefully, she enjoyed it as part of her birthday weekend. But we'll go from there.
I would love to know that though. Why does the ship have its own? Like he just said, why is it almost like a person? Like, why does it? How do they? Help me out here, Tom. I'm trying to figure out how they.
Maybe the people on it who died tragically are recreating the whole thing. I don't know. It's pretty wild. It's just a residual. Yeah. The Earth being magnetic, replaying itself. It is quite amazing that these things happen. And again, 300 years ago, nobody ever even thought we'd be able to just go to the moon, never mind Mars, and taking pictures and having pictures of, almost heading to Pluto. So who knows? Again, it's a science. Maybe 100 years from now, or 200 years, someone will go, this is exactly why. Look, the molecules line up like this, boom, boom, boom. The pressure zone hits here, and boom, and you got yourself a ghost ship. Oh, yeah, okay. But probably never in our lifetime it'll ever happen.
So, a couple things. In like 200 years, is there a chance we'd see like a haunted Honda Civic?
I got a haunted Toyota right now. I mean, this thing just won't die.
It will not die. Every time I think it's going to die, it brings it back to life.
They don't die.
I have a truck like that. My wife won't get rid of it. She put money into it. She's just like, oh, I just need this much money. Just need this much money. What we bought for the truck,
the
tripled
walking
it.
Dodge.
Yeah, tripled it and repaired. Oh, all right. So, buddy, what do you got?
I could spend another hour and a half talking to you guys and picking your brain about local haunts and local history and your efforts to unsolve all these mysteries. It's been absolutely real having you guys here, having you guys on, listening to you guys. I know some of our viewers were really excited about having you two guys on, so I look forward to having you guys back. Next week, tune in to having author Bill Konkoleski. He authored Experiencer Raised in Two Different Worlds, his story about being abducted by aliens. So a little bit more into the UFO world next week.
Wow. Yeah. You guys
tune into that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you guys get into that, the whole UFO thing? Or is that not in your realm?
I was when I was a kid. Yeah, I was when I was a kid. I was like 9 years old reading Project Blue Book. Well, everyone else is reading like Curious George. But, I don't deny anything. I really never seen anything. I seen ball lightning, but that's about it.
It's so fascinating. It just boggles your mind thinking about that. Yeah, I'm totally into it. Interested.
At least you weren't reading Clifford the Big Red Dog, because Kev, we know how that ends.
She was Clifford.
You ever read those books? Clifford the Big Red Dog? All the books they had. They were all the same plot.
She was Clifford the Big Red Dog.
I was
She
actually.
used to have to dress up like a GBH.
I didn't have to. I
Well, you
volunteered to do
volunteered
that. I love it. And I was also Curious George and Word Girl. And who else? I had a fun career.
That's how we get away from the paranormal.
And
Do you guys have
Yeah.
anything you want to promote or inform us about before we wrap up the show? Like any sites?
Just follow us at Dining with the Dead 1031.com to keep updated with all our events. And we're just working on 2 more books.
Nice.
So, be on the lookout for those.
That's
And
awesome.
it's
Yeah, the latest book just came out, Strange New
Yeah.
England. You can get it Barnes & Noble, Amazon, local bookstores, even on our website, tomdagostino.com.
Oh, and we're going to be back at Tavern on the Main in October.
25th and 26th.
Yes, right in time for Halloween.
Awesome. Kev, right?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like I said before, I love any business where Halloween is their busy season. You're doing the right things.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's our wedding anniversary. We're always busy.
True. All right. So I'm gonna wrap it up, Kev. I don't know where Buddy is. I don't know what he did. I never know where he is. You know what I mean?
He ran out of beer.
Yeah, you might be right. So let me wrap it up for the unit, Kev, for Buddy there, for Tom,
Thank you, guys.
D'Agostino, Arlene Nicholson. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it. It was great talking to you guys. It was very positive, great conversation. So thank you guys for being on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
us.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you,
yes.
guys.
No problem. Kev, I will see you sometime Thursday to talk about football and just the Giants. And I'm disgusted. I'm just disgusted, Kev.